Hello, welcome back. Great to see you as always. This is my 96 Statesman. This is the engine out of that 96 Statesman. Now, this episode title implies that we're pulling the engine apart, but the keen-eyed viewers among you might have realised that this engine is already pulled apart. What's the go there? Great question. It turns out when you film something and then don't check the footage until much later on when you've already pulled the engine half apart and discover that the intro is, well, the easy way out would be to say that it was corrupt. But when in fact it was just blurry. I didn't check the footage beforehand and it was way out of focus. So just imagine that this engine here is still complete. And we will now take you through the teardown process. Enjoy, guys. Before we get into washing the block, I want to get rid of all these little casting marks here because they will actually hold oil up in the top of the engine here. Don't want that, we want it all back down in the sump so it can get picked up at the pump and start its life all over again. So I'll take a die grinder, get rid of all these little ones. The only ones we don't touch, this guy just here. We need that lip because oil will sit there and lubricate the dizzy in there. All these others can go, no go. After I'd cleaned up those casting marks and given the block a good degrease and pressure wash, I could get stuck into measuring all the components to check for wear. It was about this time that I realised I should have done this first, as I discovered the pistons were worn just outside of allowable spec and I couldn't use them. Bugger. Far from being a showstopper, I dropped the block at my local engine shop and he machined the cylinders very slightly oversized and supplied a new set of pistons and rings to match. With a freshly machined engine block and new pistons in hand, I set about installing the piston rings. With all of that out of the way, it was a simple matter of putting everything back where I got it from and making sure there were no bolts left over at the end. Nothing could go wrong, until it did. I think I might cry. I've just been installing the rear main seal on this beautifully machined, nice fresh block, ready to go. Heard something hit the ground. I've broken the back part of the friggin' block off. You're kidding me. That's supposed to go there. Shit. Well, that puts this build back a fair bit. Now I've got to source a new block. That throws a pretty big spanner in the works. Not the end of the world, no, sure. I can get a second-hand block for one of these things. It's just annoying that this was the original block, and Sure, the car isn't anything special, like having the original block isn't going to increase the value or anything like that, but I would like to keep it all original, but nothing I can do about this one. Yeah, I probably should have gotten the machine shop to install the rear main for me. Oh well, I've done a couple of these before with no problems, but obviously this time it just ran out of luck. Well, be a bit longer before this one's done now.